So how cheap is the transport in Thailand? And maybe you don't want an international driving license. Then you're in luck, because there's a few modes of transport and I'm going to go over them in this very video. To start with, which for me is my most used mode of transport here, because they go up and down the beach road and you can jump on at any point and then press the button and jump off wherever you want, which is absolutely ideal when you're near the beach. And these rides usually cost between 30 and 60 cents depending on how far your ride is. It can be a bit more sometimes, closer to that $1 mark if it takes longer than 30 to 35 minutes, which is still stupidly cheap when you consider the distance covered. But if you're not by the beach, then you're probably going to rely on other modes of transports, such as probably the most commonly used mode of transport here for tourists is the Bolt or Grab app, where you can order a motorbike or a car, take you wherever you need to go, just like Uber. Now the motorbike rides are cheaper, but other than being a bit riskier because, well, you're in Southeast Asia and I guess, well, the stereotype is true, the whole of the drivers aren't the best when it comes to safety. It's not in the front of their minds, let's say. They just want to get you to your destination as fast as possible, whatever the risk. And both the Bolt and the Grab app start at a price about $1. Then, depending on the distance, time, and I guess traffic, or whether it's a busy period of the day, it will calculate the price and give it to you. And to give you some examples of how much it will cost for, well, certain distances. So here they are on the screen for you guys, and even if you just take a quick look, you can see. And those are my last 5 trips, all in Pattaya here, but in different times of the day, so some might be during busier times, but we'll use them as an example, or as some averages. Because looking at it, about 15 minutes is going to cost you around $3. And pro tip would be to use the basic or economy or Bolt options on the app for the cheapest trips. But you'll see that with the prices anyway, because you see them beforehand. So I'm sure you can figure that one out. Then the motorbike trips are not too far off half the price, to be fair, the car trips. It's just your life you're risking every time you get one at the back of those bikes. So half the price, but twice the danger. So I'll let you guys decide between whether it's safety first or, well, nearly a 50% discount. Which, if you're on a tight budget, I can imagine would be quite tempting. Yes, the yellow taxis, which is seen a lot in Bangkok especially. Honestly, I wouldn't even bother with using them just because of the risk of getting scammed or the meter. It's not worth the stress. Just use one of the apps I mentioned before, like nearly every other tourist that comes here. Because at least then you know the price beforehand and it's not going to change halfway through your trip. And it just avoids that scam altogether. For longer distances you might use a bus or even trains, which, to give you some examples, from Bangkok to Pattaya a train will cost you around $7, bus on the other hand around $6, and both of them are not too different, to be fair, on the time taken overall on the journey. But I have found using a minivan is even cheaper than both of them too, at around $5, but there are extra stops so it can take longer, and sometimes it feels like the driver's just stopping just to test his brakes or whatever his reason is, I'm not too sure. And finally, because Thailand is a massive country, you can take flights from one side of the country without ever having to leave the country all the way to the other. For example, Bangkok to Phuket flights can be priced anywhere between $15 to $50, depending on how far you book in advance, obviously, and whether it's during peak season or the rainy season. So I hope that informs you guys a bit more when it comes to your transport here in Thailand, because it's definitely cheaper than the West, but of course it's not free. So that's it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.